Hello, esteemed gentlemen. A manipulator's greatest fear isn't exposure, it's irrelevance. There's a cold, brutal truth about Sigma males that most people fail to grasp. They are immune to manipulation, not because they fight it, but because they make it useless. While other men fall into the traps of guilt trips, emotional games, and psychological tactics, a Sigma male simply watches with detached amusement, like a cat watching a mouse try to intimidate it. Here's an interesting fact. Psychological studies show that manipulation thrives on emotional reactions. The moment you care too much, engage too deeply, or seek validation, you're already ensnared. But Sigma males? They don't play by those rules. In fact, they don't even acknowledge the game. To a manipulative woman, this is both fascinating and terrifying. She expects resistance, arguments, or at least a desperate attempt to win her approval. Instead, she finds herself staring into an emotional void. A man who feels no need to prove himself, explain himself, or even react. It's like trying to gaslight a brick wall. So what exactly do Sigma males do when a woman tries to manipulate them? Brace yourself. The answers aren't just unexpected. They're downright lethal to any manipulation attempt. Number 1, they make her chase, then disappear. A manipulative woman thrives on control. She expects a man to chase, beg, and play into her games, feeding her ego and reinforcing her power. But a Sigma male doesn't take the bait. Instead, he lets her chase him just long enough to make her believe she's making progress, then vanishes without a trace. At first, she thinks she has him hooked. She dangles attention, withdraws affection, and carefully orchestrates situations to make him seek her validation. But he remains an enigma. Just when she starts to feel confident in her control, he pulls away, not out of anger, not as a tactic, but because he simply doesn't care enough to engage. His silence isn't a reaction. It's a declaration of disinterest. This kind of disappearance is different from the typical playing hard to get. A Sigma male doesn't disappear to create longing. He does it because he has better things to do than entertain someone who plays games. There's no explanation, no dramatic goodbye, no closure. One day he's there, unreadable yet intriguing. The next he's gone, leaving her questioning everything. And that's the real kicker. The manipulative woman isn't left with anger or closure, she's left with uncertainty. Did she push too hard? Did he see through her? Why didn't he fight for her attention like other men? She replays every interaction, searching for answers that never come. This is the kind of power most men never experience. While others struggle to break free from manipulation, a Sigma male never gets trapped to begin with. He lets her chase the illusion of control, only to realize too late she was never in control at all. Number 2, they let women destroy themselves. A Sigma male understands a fundamental truth about manipulation. It's self-destructive. He doesn't need to call it out, argue, or even warn a manipulative woman. He simply lets her be herself and watches as she digs her own grave. Manipulative women thrive on reaction. They push buttons, create drama, and bait men into emotional responses that shift the power in their favor. But when a Sigma male refuses to engage, the manipulation doesn't just fail, it backfires. Without resistance to push against, she's left floundering, exposing her tactics for everyone to see. At first, she may believe she's in control. She plays her usual games, expecting him to fall in line. But when her efforts are met with nothing, no anger, no pleading, no validation, her frustration grows. She doubles down, pushing harder, testing boundaries, only to realize that the more she tries to manipulate him, the more she exposes her true nature. This is where the real destruction happens. Without the Sigma male lifting a finger, she burns bridges, ruins her own reputation, and alienates those around her. The emotional traps she sets become obvious, not just to him, but to everyone watching. And when she finally realizes she's the only one losing, it's too late. Her credibility is gone, and so is he. A Sigma male's silence is sharper than any confrontation. It forces a manipulator to face the reality of her own actions without interference, leaving her to deal with the consequences. No need for revenge, no need for drama. She destroys herself, and he walks away untouched. Number 3, they kill interest instantly. A Sigma male doesn't waste time with people who play games. The second he senses manipulation, something inside him switches off. She's done. Not in a dramatic, vengeful way, just in the cold, detached way a person deletes a useless app from their phone. Manipulative women thrive on emotional investment. They need a man to care, whether it's through love, anger, or frustration, because any reaction keeps them in control. But a Sigma male doesn't engage. He simply stops caring. The moment he detects deception, fake tears, guilt-tripping, or mind games, his interest dies on the spot. There's no debate, no warning, no second chances. She becomes invisible to him. This is what makes him so dangerous to manipulators. Most men argue, demand explanations, or try to fix the situation. A Sigma male? He just mentally deletes her. He doesn't announce it. He doesn't need closure. He doesn't even feel the need to explain himself. He just withdraws, mentally, emotionally, and eventually, physically. To the manipulative woman, this is devastating. She's used to pulling the strings, controlling the narrative, and making men chase even after she mistreats them. But with a Sigma male, her usual tactics fail spectacularly. She's left scrambling, trying to re-engage him, testing to see if she still has any influence. But she doesn't. Once his interest is gone, it's gone forever. No matter how much she apologizes, seduces, or tries to win him back, it won't work. Because to a Sigma male, manipulation isn't a mistake, it's a fundamental flaw, and he doesn't waste time on flaws. Number 4, they let silence do the damage. A manipulative woman feeds on chaos. She provokes, twists words, plays the victim, and thrives on getting a reaction, any reaction. It doesn't matter if it's love, anger, or frustration, as long as she can make a man engage, she maintains control. But when she tries this on a Sigma male, she encounters something terrifying. Silence. A Sigma male doesn't argue. He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't plead or try to make her see reason. He simply stops responding. No eye contact, no emotional outburst, no acknowledgement of her existence. Nothing. And that nothingness is psychologically crushing to a manipulator. At first, she assumes he's playing a game. She waits, expecting him to crack. When he doesn't, she escalates. She tries to provoke, seduce, guilt-trip, or even start an argument just to break the silence. But the Sigma male remains unmoved, his silence growing heavier, more suffocating. And then it happens. The shift. She begins doubting herself. Did she push too far? Has she lost control? Why isn't he reacting like other men? The panic sets in because, for the first time, her manipulation has no effect. Silence is the Sigma male's secret weapon. It doesn't just frustrate a manipulator, it destroys her illusion of power. Without his engagement, her tactics collapse, leaving her grasping at straws. And by the time she realizes what's happened, he's already gone, mentally, emotionally, and eventually physically. Number 5, they smell manipulation before it begins. A Sigma male doesn't need to wait for the full act to play out. He sees it coming before it even begins. His mind is wired differently from the average man's. He doesn't just hear words. He analyzes tone, body language, timing, and intent. A slight hesitation in her voice, a calculated pause, an overplayed emotion. It all registers instantly. This is what makes manipulation useless against him. While most men realize they're being played only after they're already emotionally invested, a Sigma male detects the setup before the trap is even set. The moment he senses even a hint of emotional coercion, guilt-tripping, or calculated drama, he mentally checks out. And that's where things go south for the manipulative woman. She's expecting engagement, questions, pushback, maybe even resistance. Instead, he gives her nothing. No emotional reaction, no validation, not even curiosity. To her, it feels like trying to sell a scam to someone who already knows the entire script. This ability unnerves manipulative people because it removes their element of surprise. A Sigma male won't call them out directly. He doesn't need to. His disinterest alone is enough to shake them. They can sense it. He knows. And once a manipulator realizes they've been exposed, the power dynamic shifts entirely. She may try to recover, change tactics, or soften her approach, but it's pointless. He's already gone. Maybe not physically yet, but mentally. She lost him the second she tried to play him. Number 6, they never play the game, they end it. A manipulative woman expects resistance. She thrives on tension, back-and-forth mind games, and the illusion of control. Most men, whether they realize it or not, get caught in the trap. They try to win. They argue, prove their worth, fight for her approval, or attempt to outmaneuver her. But a Sigma male? He doesn't play. This is what makes him impossible to manipulate. The moment he detects a game, he walks away from the table. No warnings, no grand speeches, just a quiet, effortless exit that leaves the manipulator stunned. She expects drama, pleading, maybe even a battle of wits. Instead, she gets absolute indifference, and this destroys her strategy. Manipulation only works when the target cares enough to stay engaged. Without participation, there's no tension, no leverage, no power. She might try to provoke him, change tactics, or guilt-trip him back into the game, but it's useless. He's already out. The worst part for her? There's no closure. He doesn't explain why he's done. He doesn't justify himself or give her a chance to recover control. He just leaves. No anger, no emotional outburst, just pure, silent detachment. For a manipulative woman, this is the ultimate nightmare. She's left confused, powerless, and wondering what just happened. Because for the first time, the game didn't work. And nothing is more terrifying than realizing you never had control to begin with. Number 7. They show her she's replaceable without saying a word. A manipulative woman's greatest fear isn't rejection. It's being irrelevant. She thrives on attention, validation, and the feeling that she's irreplaceable. Most men feed into this, either by chasing her, fearing her loss, or constantly trying to prove their worth. A Sigma male does the exact opposite. He never argues, never warns, never threatens to leave. He just makes her feel like she's already gone. The shift is subtle but devastating. He doesn't announce that he's losing interest. He doesn't engage in dramatic conversations about how she's mistreating him. He simply stops prioritizing her. His responses become slower, his focus shifts elsewhere, and his energy is no longer directed at her. She becomes an afterthought without him saying a single word. At first, she might not even notice. But then it hits. His silence, his indifference, his lack of reaction. The emotional pull she once had over him is gone. She tries to test him, provoke a reaction, or make him jealous. But it doesn't work. He doesn't get mad. He doesn't fight for her. He just treats her like a background character in his life. This is psychological devastation for a manipulative woman. She's used to men fighting for her, fearing her loss, or bending to her will. But a Sigma male? He simply moves on, mentally and emotionally, before she even realizes what's happening. And once she sees that she's not special to him, she spirals, because for the first time, she's experiencing the one thing she never expected: complete irrelevance. Number 8. They never let her feel like she won. A manipulative woman craves one thing above all: the feeling of control. She wants to believe she outsmarted, outmaneuvered, or emotionally conquered a man. Most men either give her that satisfaction by falling for the game or fighting so hard against it that they still end up playing. But a Sigma male? He never lets her feel like she won. Even if, for a moment, she believes she got her way. Maybe she guilt-tripped him into something, played the victim successfully, or manipulated a situation in her favor. He never fully lets her settle into that victory. He doesn't argue, he doesn't resist, but there's something in his demeanor, a quiet unreadability that makes her uneasy. Did he really fall for it? Or did he let it happen just to see how far she'd go? Did she outplay him? Or was he just observing the whole time? The uncertainty eats at her, and that's where he wins. Sigma males understand that a manipulator's power comes not from actual control, but from the belief that she has it. So he subtly takes that belief away. He may comply with her manipulation in the moment, but in a way that feels off, too calm, too unaffected, like a chess master letting an opponent take a pawn, knowing it's a setup for checkmate. And that doubt, that's what destroys her. Even if she got what she wanted, she never gets the satisfaction of knowing she truly controlled him. Because deep down, she suspects the truth. She never had power over him at all. Number 9. They leave women wondering what just happened. A manipulative woman is used to having the upper hand. She knows how to twist emotions, provoke reactions, and create situations where she holds the power. But when a Sigma male is in the picture, things don't play out the way she expects. By the time he walks away, she's left with nothing but confusion. Unlike other men, who might explode in frustration or try to make her understand why her behavior is toxic, The Sigma male simply disappears. He doesn't make a scene. He doesn't give her the satisfaction of an emotional outburst or a confrontation. He just stops engaging. He pulls back, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically, leaving her in the wake of her own actions. The result? She has no idea what just happened. She goes over every conversation, every interaction, trying to pinpoint the moment he stopped caring. She can't. One moment he was there, quietly enduring her manipulation, and the next he's completely gone with no explanation. This is where the real damage hits. The manipulative woman thrives on knowing she has control, even if it's only for a brief moment. But when a Sigma male walks away, she's left with doubt, discomfort, and an unsettling feeling of being powerless. She doesn't know if he ever truly cared, or if she was just a blip on his radar, quickly forgotten. For the first time, her manipulation didn't work, and that realization gnaws at her, creating an emptiness she can't quite fill. Because now, she's not just questioning him, she's questioning her own tactics and whether she ever really had any control at all. Number 10. They flip the script. A Sigma male doesn't need to fight manipulation head-on. He just subtly flips the script. When a manipulative woman tries to use her usual tactics, whether it's guilt-tripping, emotional blackmail, or playing the victim, he doesn't react the way she expects. Instead, he gently redirects the situation, shifting the narrative just enough to make her question everything she thought she knew about the dynamic. Imagine her trying to make him feel bad for not giving her enough attention. Most men might apologize or defend their actions, but a Sigma male? He might respond with something like, "I didn't realize you needed so much attention. It must be hard to feel that way. Do you feel okay?" It's not that he's giving in or validating her manipulation. It's that he's reframing her emotional need into a reflection of her own insecurity, leaving her questioning whether her demands are even reasonable. By doing this, he flips the power dynamic. The manipulator is so used to being in control, pulling the strings and getting the emotional responses she wants. But suddenly, she's the one on the defensive. Her own tactics, which once felt like a well-executed game, start to lose their effect. The questions she asked herself for manipulating him, will he give in? Will he respond? Start to turn inward. She wonders, wait, am I overreacting? Was this really necessary? Did I push too far? The result is almost like watching a maze builder walk into the labyrinth they created. They get trapped in it. And while they're stuck, the Sigma male simply observes, detached but aware, letting them work through the mess they've made without offering a lifeline. In the end, she's the one questioning herself, not him, leaving her to reconsider the very manipulation she tried to pull off. In the end, the Sigma male doesn't need to play by the rules. He doesn't need to argue, fight, or even prove anything. His true power lies in his complete refusal to be manipulated. Where others are caught in webs of emotional games, the Sigma male remains the architect of his own life, untouched and undeterred by the tactics others rely on to control. What makes him extraordinary isn't just his ability to resist, it's his ability to remain completely indifferent to manipulation. By recognizing the game before it even begins, he rewrites the narrative, leaving the manipulator questioning their own strategies and trapped in their own maze. Silence, detachment, and absence, these are his tools, and they're more powerful than any emotional outburst or confrontation. The manipulative woman is left with one undeniable truth: she can't control him. She can't bend him to her will, and she can't make him care in the way she needs him to. And in that realization, the game is over. So when it comes to Sigma males, the lesson is clear. They don't play the game because they already know how it ends. They don't need to win. They walk away, leaving the manipulator to wonder not only where they went wrong, but if they were ever in control to begin with. And that, in itself, is the ultimate victory. If you found this insight into the Sigma male's approach to manipulation fascinating, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more thought-provoking content. Hit that like button if you agree, and share this with anyone who might need to hear it. Drop a comment below. What do you think of the Sigma male's mindset? We'd love to hear your thoughts.